And welcome to Light Years. Sam Sfandiari here. I got special guest Dieter Kurtenbot across from me. This is the Pacific Catch post-game show. Pacific Catch, sustainable food, West Coast style. The Warriors, first road win of the year. Feel like
what a time to be alive.
Yeah, I mean, 1-8 on the road, but completely back. And there's really two stories for this game. So the question is, do we want to go with the positive, which is Klay Thompson, or the negative, which is the second unit first? And I'm going to say, let's start with Klay.
Yeah.
We can we'll talk second unit more than enough tonight. So Klay Thompson, 41 points, 10 threes. He was kind of moping around before the last two games, and he's finally looking like Klay Thompson. What do you attribute it to right now, my man?
Well, I mean, the shooting stroke was going to get there. You've acknowledged this a million times. Like the shots that he was missing, he was just kind of pressing it. It was either coming up short because he didn't have enough burst in the legs. That's understandable given the lack of scrimmaging that he did over the summer. And then he was doing just stupid shit. Like he was just like taking fadeaways when he didn't need to take fadeaways. And he was forcing shots up in situations where the ball had no kinetic energy. And I think the last two games, if like you have to break down what changed for Klay, yes, got his legs under him a little bit. He's feeling a little bit more in the zone, but like he just stopped doing stupid shit. And I'm sure that's what the Draymond team meeting was all about.
Right.
Like, Klay, you're too smart. You know this system better than anybody on the planet, tied with like four other dudes, but like, you know this system, like you're doing stupid shit. Like you're not playing within the rhythm of the game. And it's one thing when you have a new guy doing it or Jordan Poole doing it or, some kid doing it, but Klay Thompson doing it, that was unacceptable. And he just looks right. He fits into the system as is currently constructed, even with the new guys, as Klay Thompson, right? Like that role will always exist. And he's finally fulfilling it the last two games. So we'll see if it sticks around. But it's nice to see him make shots. It's nice to see him kind of zone out, right? Like the irony is when you say Klay Thompson's not doing stupid shit anymore on the floor, it's because Klay Thompson is just in this like weird flow state that no one can ever possibly comprehend. He intuitively does the smart thing.
He's best when he's playing in the flow instead of playing laid back. I feel like Bogut said it during the first iteration, the pre-KD years, where he's like, we're at our best when Klay's going off because that means the ball is really moving.
Totally.
And like my thought watching the last two games is at least the first unit, they look like the Warriors. Like you can
100%.
You can transport them. It could be 2015, could be 2019. Like obviously some of the pieces change. Harrison Barnes becomes a KD, becomes a Wiggins. Bogut turns into a Looney, but it's like it's the same. It's Warrior basketball. It's like ball moving side to side. And then all of a sudden, Steph or Klay are relocated. It's like, oh, shit.
There's like 8 actions on top of one play, and it's barely a play. Like, that's Warriors basketball. And as much as the league has come to understand what that style is and tried to replicate it in a lot of situations, like nobody does it as well because nobody has a Draymond Green and in particular, Steph Curry and a Klay Thompson. And you need that Klay Thompson, too, because Draymond can't shoot and neither can Looney. Even though they'll have their nights where they're both putting the ball in the hoop, but Draymond in particular, I thought he had a nice night on Friday. But like, you can overwhelm Steph a little bit. It's not like he's 6'7", 225 pounds, and can go up and rise and get one over anybody. Like the heliocentric offense doesn't work for a guy of his size. So you have to run the system.
Nor does it like bring out the best in him anyway. So
totally,
it's kind of like you have this guy who freaks everyone out when he's running around. Why would you want him to just dribble at the top of the key for an hour and a half?
Because of the, I don't know, like some sort of legacy argument. I mean, it's not for me, but I'm sure some people want that. But when you have Klay creating some balance on the court, right side is Curry, left side is Klay, flip it, like there's some balance to the court. It spaces everybody out, and it's pretty unstoppable when the ball actually moves. And it's looked really, really good the last couple of games, and it had its flashes well before, right? It's not as if the starters had sucked all year. It's that Klay had kind of sucked all year, and even when he would have a spurt or two, they would look spectacular, and they'd be really good in the other moments. So that's a good thing to see. And then you get sort of to the bench, and we're kind of having the same problems. But it's good to see Klay back, because the Warriors are, they'll at a certain point, they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to, shorten the rotation, and to have a 5-man unit the way that they have a 5-man unit in the starters that can just score like they can score and defend like they can defend. I mean, you got to feel really good about that being the baseline of the team. I mean, the machine is not broken. It just needs maybe some new parts or some oil in some very specific parts.
Yeah, it's like and to point to it, it's like that's also why Wiggins is really important to the starting unit. Like, you just need a third scoring option out there, because like it's not going to be Draymond, it's not going to be Looney. They're different types of players, and Wiggins has filled that role perfectly. And like, honestly, I still think this starting unit can beat any team. Like, their minutes, they can hang with anyone. Like, I feel pretty good here. I guess let's wrap this up with where you at with Klay. Are you officially unconcerned? You think he's like rounding into it, or is this just kind of like, I mean, let's be real, it's the Houston Rockets, and he could shoot. Like, are we beyond are we willing to just throw those first 10 games out as a guy who didn't play in the offseason, was probably out of shape, and then started pressing, and then now he's in basically now it's his right now he's like at the beginning of the season? Or are you still kind of like, I need to see more?
I need to see a little bit more, because the numbers were really, really bad, right? Like, everything you said could end up making complete sense, but I'm just not at the point right now where I feel like I can say that is affirmatively like what is going on. Like, I agree again that all of those things have happened, but that's not to say that now it's over, that those issues won't prop up again. And honestly, like, you get 2 good games under your belt, Draymond lights a fire under your ass. How long can that continue? Like, I don't know if this is a sustainable form of motivation for him to get his legs under him on shots and to stop taking stupid shots. I'd presume it is, but I can't be sure, because it's not like it was last year where the numbers dropped off, right? Like, the numbers dropped off, and he would have moments here or there, but he would, just wouldn't take as many shots, and he wasn't getting as open, and he wouldn't have as, as good of defensive performances. Like, you just saw the attrition that the 2 leg injuries provided, and it looked about right. Like, that's the Klay Thompson you're going to get. And we're not going to have a conversation about the contract or anything. It was just that's the Klay Thompson. He's not that sort of all-star level Klay anymore. He's a little bit less than that, and that's still a very good winning player. But the first 10 games, I mean, were so bad. 35% from the floor overall, not just from 3 overall.
Yeah.
Like, I got to see more than 2 games, including one against the Rockets, to really feel like, hey, it's over. And I think back, I've been thinking a lot about the 2021 team. I can't remember which year was it that Klay broke the single game 3-point record. Like,
2019. It was the It was against the Bulls.
It was against the Bulls. Abysmal defense by the Bulls.
It was the I can't remember if it was before or after Christmas. I think it was before Christmas, but it was in that it was in the Draymond punch season. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I just remember Klay, and he and I had a conversation about it, a pretty light one. It wasn't really much to go, but like I was openly calling him out. Like, he was playing like absolute shit at the beginning of that season.
Right.
And a lot of that, was attributed to him pressing. And once he got that 3-pointer record in that game, everything just sort of opened up, and he lived free again. He was Klay Thompson once again. So it wouldn't stun me at all if your order of events turned out to be correct, because now he's seen it go through the hoop. Now he can be his then Klay again. But man, 35% from the floor, just doing really like egregious nonsense to the point where he's got to get called out at the team meeting.
We have a for sure. We have piggybacking on that, Draymond in the post game right now, and this is quote via Shayna Rubin, your colleague at Merck News. Draymond on Klay. When Klay worries about what happens with this team, he plays great and we win.
Whoa.
He's the most competitive guy I've ever played with. The most important thing to him is always winning. I want to call one thing out in there before we like dissect it a little bit, but it's like part of the reason I give Klay more rope than most players is he's proven to be a like whatever expression, like a foxhole guy. Like it's game 6, it's game 7. you can count on him to compete against anyone, whether he hits shots or misses them. Like that's above, like that's a different thing. But it's like there are guys who get spooked in those moments, and there are guys who compete on both ends and rise to the stage in those moments. And Klay's always been the rise to the moment type of competitor. And I would say, honestly, that's like what makes the Warriors big three, old, you know, the core, whatever you want to call them, special. It's like, if they lose, like I could live with it. I've never seen them quit on a game, though. I've never seen them pull a James Harden. I've never seen them pull like, you know what I mean? Like where you're just like, man, you just no showed. It's like, all right, so you didn't hit enough shots in a game 7. It's life, you know. But it's like that's part of the reason I think he deserves a little more rope, even if those first 10 games were really annoying to watch. Like there's no way around that.
That was kind of the concern, right? The first 10 games he was moping around. And
exactly.
So, and it's like, that's just not the Klay Thompson that you know. Understanding, of course, that like the Warriors are taking the regular season as seriously as I take my diet. Like it's just, it's obscene. But like the pressing is something you can always get over. Like I'm never going to fault a guy for trying too hard. And so if that's Klay's biggest sin, like sign me up, like legitimately.
You can work your way around. You can work your way. You can get him to like a balanced state.
And listen, we're finding out, you know, firsthand, and we've seen this multiple times over the years. Like you have to have dudes who are selfless in the sense that they just care about winning, but they'll put in the shift, right? They're going to put in the shift as hard as they can.
They'll play their role, basically.
Exactly. And you know, there's some real Kelly Oubre energy with the second unit right now. And I don't know who the Kelly Oubre is, who's like my least favorite.
What if they're all Kelly Oubre?
They're all kind of Kelly Oubre. And I saw something on Friday night where JaMychal Green didn't take like a 3/4 court shot at the buzzer as a stat saver. And I'm like, he's got to go. It's over. It's like my one cardinal rule.
Far, but like that is like I do get what you're going with there. I don't hate it from metaphoric sense. All right.
I hate it from a spiritual sense, Sam.
Let's get to the second unit. Tonight was just another bang up one. Like the Warriors, the first quarter felt like 2015-16. They're like, they're gonna boat race them. You know, Andy's going to be tweeting some offensive shit in the third quarter because they've won the game. You know, we're all going to have a party, you know, because that's like what it felt like the whole 2015-16 season. Just like one never ending party. Right.
Exactly. People are staying up till 1 a.m. on the East Coast to watch it, get in on it.
And then the second quarter happens, and that was the opposite of it. And it was just like, I mean, first quarter 40-28, second quarter 21-37. And at this point, the specific numbers don't matter because it's the same theme. It's, you know, Wiseman's in Santa Cruz, so you know you can't just put it on
him.
No, I mean, I have my ways to, but putting that aside, no, I mean, he's not the reason this second unit is playing poorly. Like jokes aside,
he ain't helping, that's for sure.
But. And it's just, you know, I watched the second unit. My number one take is they don't have the IQ to play Warriors basketball.
100%.
Like either Steve needs to put a second system in place for the second unit, which he's absolutely not going to do. I've led that charge, and he's like just.
Well, okay,
hey,
let's
he is who he is.
Probe on that right now. Yeah. Not even the Steve part, because I'm with you. Like, if let's play devil's advocate for Steve here. Like, what would the second system be other than just running a 1-5 pick and roll with JaMychal Green and Jordan Poole?
That's
like,
it. That's the point.
Helping?
That's the point.
It's like, who's that helping? What kind of an offense is that?
Yeah, maybe it buys you. Yeah,
it can buy you possessions. Like you can get away with that for 3 or 4. The same way that they'll play zone defense, which by the way, that shit's got to stop. Like I'm so over that. It doesn't work. Every team in the NBA can shoot.
Yeah, and so we come back to this issue of the second unit. I thought what was interesting in this game, for example, was the second unit kind of threw up all over themselves in the first half, and in the second half, he threw Draymond out there with the second unit, and stabilized it. And it gets back to kind of you're mentioning JaMychal.
Yeah,
JaMychal is a good energy player. He's actually, I thought he played really well on Friday night.
Yeah,
I think he can do certain things. But he's not a facilitator. He's not No, I
No,
mean
he's a
like
catch and shoot guy. I mean, no one ever
and he's not
expected him
even
to
a
be a
great
facilitator.
not even a great catch and shoot guy. Like he's
Yeah.
just he hits the offensive glass, good cutter, hard competitor, like a guy you want on the bench in some capacity. But
there are certain matchups and lineups where you think, oh man, you throw a JaMychal Green in there and stuff's gonna break up and open up. But that's not every night. And I'm not sure it's necessary. Like I like him at the 5, but that can't be the norm. Like you can't be throwing that kind of curveball every single time. Like people are gonna start hitting it out of the park. It doesn't have enough spin. Like it really doesn't. And I just, listen, the 1-5 with Wiseman isn't there. DiVincenzo and Poole,
but even
neither
like
of them
to
can
your
run the point.
the 1-5 with JaMychal is the same concept as the 1-5 with Wiseman. It's just with a guy 5 inches shorter or 4 inches shorter, whatever it may be, right? But it's
I'm just saying, like,
it's a finisher, it's an athletic finisher. That's it, So
I just find it interesting that I like Dante DiVincenzo. I think he's a good player. I think that he is going to struggle to find what his role on this team is because it hasn't really been defined yet. Because Jordan Poole is neither the point guard nor not the point guard. And Dante DiVincenzo is neither the point guard nor not the point guard. And it really makes you appreciate one Andre Iguodala, who took on that role a lot. And to like Sean Livingston, I know it's been a long time, but like at least you knew like Sean Livingston would get them into their damn sets. Andre Iguodala gets them into their damn sets. And tonight in the second half, Draymond Green got them into their damn sets.
Through Livingston in the post. You can run the offense through Iguodala on the perimeter or the post.
What they do with Draymond, they ran that damn split action 14 straight times down the floor. Yeah. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that because it gets everybody moving. And it's, by the way, putting Poole and DiVincenzo in good spots because they're combo guards who can put it on the floor, give you a secondary action. But
Dante's really Dante's made for this system, but the system doesn't work if you don't have a big you can run it through. Like that's the thing that stands out to me. Like
You're reason telling me Wiseman can't do it.
But like also JaMychal and Kuminga can't do it. Like there's a reason that Anthony Lamb, guy that they signed in camp to he didn't even go to Japan with them. No. Like he's more suited to play that role than any of those guys. And like, he's not, it kind of points to either Draymond and Looney are going to have to play 40 plus minutes a game when we get to the playoffs, or they're going to have to find, for lack of a better term, an Otto Porter. Cause like Otto did a lot of that stuff and just Otto, just a third big who's smart enough to kind of be a hub of the offense. Cause like, that one play sticks in my mind. The split action through Draymond where Dante cut. That's Dante's game. He's a good pass and move guy. Right now he passes it, but no one passes it back to him if he cuts.
Exactly.
But if you put him with the starting unit, I think Dante would look like a stud, just like Poole looks like a stud with the starting unit. And really everyone looks like a stud when they play with Steph, Draymond, and to a lesser degree Looney, where they all know like exactly how they want to move off each other. And all you have to do is like understand spacing. I mean, you could pull up Pat Spencer from the G League. I guarantee you he'd look good as a 2-guard in that starting lineup,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, well, you're now the trade concept guru. As I was reading the other day, pushing to my phone, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll click on that, and it's damn, who's a big who's out there and available like within reason that can do it, because like Kuminga, in theory, you should be at least trying that, but they're not going to because they don't trust him one lick.
Also, isn't Kuminga the guy you want cutting off the big and just like throwing his head through the rim?
They got to have somebody that they can run. Like they got to have some big that they could at least give the ball to in the low post or the high post and can make a decent pass, like can see dudes on the floor. They don't have to be Jokic. They don't have to be Bogut. They don't have to be Draymond.
No, they got to. Zaza did it. Zaza was wonderful. Right. You mentioned Livingston. I know he was a guard or wing.
But they played him as a 5 when he get the ball, he give it over to Andre and get his ass into the post.
Exactly.
Who's a guy out there who's available who can actually do that? It's kind of a dying breed, if we're being honest.
I mean, you got Pirtle on the Spurs, who everyone assumes is going to get traded, but like that's going to cost you, even though he's an expiring. It's going to cost you, and then you got Olenek on Utah, where there's the assumption that
you mean the first place Utah Jazz,
dude, they're fun too. They're good. Yeah.
They're well coached and they have good players.
They all know who they want. They all know who they want. They all play their role. Like,
exactly. What a concept.
And
no Kelly Olynyk vibes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
like
not Kelly Oubre vibes.
Yeah.
Kelly Olynyk vibes are good.
Sometimes wonder if the Warriors thought they traded for Olynyk when they got Oubre, and like, I got the wrong one. But anyway, like the concept,
way swaggier.
Yeah. The fans might like him more initially, but they're not going to like him more long term. I promise.
Kelly Oubre drowned so Jordan Poole could swim.
Yeah. And so let's talk Jordan Poole then, real quick. Got to call this a disappointment so far, right? Like, I just don't know what I don't know what the fix here is, because he's a guy who he's going to probably start against New Orleans, because I don't think Klay's going to play back-to-back.
Yeah, he doesn't play back.
Guarantee you he'll look fucking phenomenal, because he looks great when he plays next to Steph and Draymond, because most players look like shocking. You play better next to those guys, but it's like that idea of, you got guys who know how to connect the offense and pass. And next thing you know, Jordan Poole's hitting some dumb shots, and then he's pulling up on a heat check. He's making it. He's dancing. I mean, he's very talented, but
he's a very good player.
But it's I don't know.
Is he a warrior? I mean, I think that needs to be part of the conversation.
Well, I just don't know what you do with it, because Steph, who, by the way, we buried this 33-15
in like unspectacular fashion until the end, just like a steady workman. Like
he didn't even start trying to score the ball. So he's like, fuck, you guys need me to.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those where it's like, all right, fine, I'll bail you out. Like, it was very like,
I want to get the shot clock, like 17 footers that he would knock in. A lot of like, I guess they're going to overcommit to they're going to overcommit to Klay here. So I'll just take this layup. Like, Jordan Poole and I are on transition. I guess I'll do this so he doesn't fuck it up. Like,
it was a lot of like, I want to get Klay and Poole and these other guys going, and I'm fine having 17 points or something. And then they needed it. Then they needed. There is. I mean, that's leadership. That's kind of just being what the team needs. But it's, they weren't winning with a 17-point Steph game. So, and I think in the middle of the third quarter, he's like, I think I gotta get another 30. I guess
I'm doing the math in my head here. This isn't gonna work out. But Klay started missing shots. That means I got to start making them.
But back to Poole. They paid him. Technically, they're not paying him till next year.
Yeah, he's making $3.9 million. He's a bargain this year.
The assumption is he's going to be a cornerstone player, not just a guy who plays well off of the other guys. And like, to be fair, like Klay only plays well off of the other guys too. But Klay,
you're not putting Klay in with the second unit and expecting anything to get better.
Well, also, Klay got paid before both his legs. Well, only one of his legs had fallen apart at that point. And
you felt a lot better about ACL than you did about Achilles tendon.
And also, like, Klay had a very high intrinsic like defensive value. So, which Poole like Poole's value is offensive, and the idea is he can carry offensively. It's like you'll be able to figure out. Like, I love when people are like, "Oh, Poole needs to improve his defense." I'm like, sure. But his value to being a star is being a transcendent offensive player. It doesn't need to be Steph Curry, but it needs to be Donovan Mitchell or something like that, where it's just like he's never going to make an all-defensive team. I know he's got the incentive, but it's probably not happening.
That was bad work by his agent there.
And through the first 15 games, or 16 games, sorry, I feel like the jury's still out on if he can be that kind of offensive player. Because right now he's more of a sixth man, where I'm like, I know this guy can get hot, and I know if I put him in the right lineup, he can kill, but he's not the guy who carries the lineup.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest about it. He's still a vibes player. And it's one of the reasons I think that he sucks on the road, unless he's playing alongside Draymond and Steph all the time. It's because he's still kind of a role player, a young player, right? And what happens? Role players on the road, they usually suck. And the vibes on the road suck. Like, they stay at a hotel in Houston that they nicknamed the 2 Seasons. Like, it's not even a good hotel. Like, they don't like being there. They hate it. And so I didn't expect Jordan Poole to have a nice game. Like, he carries the energy, and he's 23 years old, which I do think, like, we're now in this weird in-between spot where he is going to be paid. Like he is owed that money, but he's not being paid, and he's young. But now because he's got a 9-figure contract coming, he's established, and like I can see it going both ways. Like I can absolutely, in fact, I'd say it's more probable than not in my mind that he does become one of the NBA's better scorers, like one of those guys.
And it is worth pointing out his contract pays him to be a tier 2 guard, not a tier. Like he's being paid Tyler
he didn't
Hero.
Get the Zion money or anything like that.
No, he's getting Jamal Murray, Tyler Hero money, which is like an appropriate, like if he can't hit that tier, like we got bigger problems.
You would love it if he was Jamal Murray. You would probably
he
would like him to maintain.
Murray, to be honest,
I'm not a big Jamal Murray guy personally, but like that, Jamal
he's
Murray
a big game player though. He is a guy who's performed in some big games. So
yeah, I mean, no one was there to see him, but he's performed in big games. It was
best AAU tournament on earth.
It was incredible. I can see it happening. I do think that he needs to start showing a bit more initiative in terms of running the second unit and kind of not moping around a little bit. Like I know that he just wants to run one.
A lot of irony between him and Klay moping and wanting to both want the starting job. But
how about both of you get the hell up out of here and we'll figure out what to do.
We'll just get Michael Jordan. We're good.
Yeah. Listen, they're both really good players. They're both working through some stuff. Like Poole needs to work. And I hate using this term, but on court professionalism. Like he needs to be more reliable. He needs to create a better baseline that you can count on day in and day out.
You're talking about like when you have 1 to 2 poor possessions, like for basically what Draymond does, and Steph, where it's like it's like, I missed a shot, out of sight, out of mind. Next play. Instead of like letting it
up tonight, gets dropped to the floor. Kevin Porter doesn't make the shot, but like is on the floor, like flopping around. Would have been, the number one highlight of the night had Porter made this 15-footer from the baseline. Yeah. And Curry comes up the next play and just absolutely, wrecks him. And it wasn't like a vengeance thing. He was just like, I don't remember what just happened.
Right. So that's actually a really good call out because Jordan Poole definitely like when things are going well, it's an avalanche.
Totally.
But when things when things are going poorly, he can't just like get out of it. Sometimes it takes 2 quarters. Sometimes it takes 4 games. And to tie it to Klay, it's kind of that way with him these days too. He used to be more in the former. Now he's a little more in the latter. Like he used to be a little more like Steph, where it's like, it doesn't matter. Head down, gonna like check this guy from half court, 3/4 court, whatever. Now it's like a little mopey when things don't, and right now things are going his way. So we got another.
It's hard to do vibes all the time, right? Like vibes are really tricky. And, I do think that because of Steph's greatness, we probably overvalued the quality of last year's championship team. Like they got 3 really favorable draws and they played their ass off. I'm not taking anything away. We're not doing the whole bubble argument or anything like that. They're the fair and square champions. But there were so many moments throughout that 6-game series where, a lot of Warriors didn't elevate their play, but Steph did. And by the way, the Boston Celtics decided, like, what if we shit our pants right now? Like, that would be a really fun thing for us to do.
I mean, he did what the best player on earth does, which is like, I don't know that my team's better than yours, but I can break you.
Exactly. Like, I'm the one guy out here.
I'm the best player on the floor. Yeah,
exactly. Come and get it. And Jason Tatum and, Jaylen Brown. I like Jaylen Brown. I thought he had a couple of really nice games, but Jaylen Brown's like, I'm the best player on the floor. It's like, Jaylen, no, you're not. Like, that's not how this is going to work. Marcus Smart had that same problem. And Jason Tatum had the opposite. But you look at like Draymond got benched in that series. Draymond didn't play very well. Now, there were moments of just transcendent brilliance on the defensive end from Draymond Green, and those need to be
I think we also – I do want to throw this out there. Watching him in this early season, no one's writing sob stories for Draymond because he's very good at like annoying the general public. But like,
what happened to the podcast, Draymond?
I know, right?
Where's the podcast?
I don't think enough gets mentioned how much he was like dealing with a limited back in the playoffs because you watch him right now. He looks like the Draymond of early last year. physically, not as good a team around him, but like physically. No. And in the playoffs, you saw him where it's like, man, he's kind of chasing shadows at times, or he can't physically hang. But that's a different conversation. Let's get to this Klay thing, and then let's move it. I think we had a couple callers.
So first off, this tweet, incredible. This is high grade stuff from my man Dalton Johnson.
From Dalton Johnson, NBC Sportsnet, Bay Area. Klay admits he lets trolls get to him and says he had a revelation to just be himself, and real Warrior fans will keep riding with him. My man's got to deactivate Instagram and Twitter from his phone. That's what I'm taking here.
I mean, that's good advice for anybody, though it will make it a little bit more difficult to get the baddies to come on through on the road. But the real Warriors fans line is just like great. Like what are you talking? Sycophants? Are we talking about sycophants? Is that what we're talking about? You were shooting 35% from the floor, my dude. Like, it's not trolling. It's a fact. And you played great the last 2 games. Like, that's also a fact. Like, accountability is not trolling. And if it's not, external, if accountability can only come from like 4 places, then so be it.
It's interesting to see, like, he's clearly too online, and look, we all got a little too online during the pandemic, and neither you or I were rehabbing like lower body, like, at least I speak for myself. The man was, I completely understand how it's like, I can't do anything other than do these weird knee stretches or Achilles stretches and sit on my phone. And it's not, it's definitely not where you want to be. Like, advice, don't do it. Listen to Light Years and get off your phone. That's the only thing you should do. But
if you can find a way to get Light Years away from your phone, just like tell your Google Assistant or something.
Exactly. But it is interesting to see him, like, he's the guy you wouldn't assume lets that stuff get to him as much as it does. Wow. Just like based on image and everything like that. Like, and
it's all very, but like, I can tell you firsthand, like, if I say something bad about Klay Thompson in the paper, first person to talk to me about it is Klay Thompson.
Nice.
Every time. Like, and you know what? Like, that's cool. Like, no problems. Like, accountability goes both ways. Like, I've never had an issue with it. Like, we're cool about it, but like, he knows, he reads. Like, and KD did that, but then KD would like let it stew for a month. So I always really appreciate Klay.
Oh, so the difference is like, call it out, and then I can move on from it from after the conversation.
So I was saying, like, when he broke that single game scoring record in Chicago, right beforehand, he's like, you've been writing some bullshit. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what was bullshit about it? Like, you've been forcing up shots, this and that. And he goes like, nah, man, you don't get it like that. And I'm like, explain it to me. And like, we had a nice talk, like, and we've done this a couple of times.
I do remember he was playing terrible before that. But
he was god awful. I called him Big Lots Kobe Bryant. This was before Kobe passed, so I guess I could have probably dated it before that. But Big Lots Kobe Bryant, he did not
get into your 2018 articles and edit that.
No, don't worry about that. Like, it was. First off, it was a great line. I maintain it because he was forcing up shots. They're still running him with the second unit, right? Like, he would do that, like Iverson cut on the floppy action. Like, the entire offense was built around just like getting Klay the ball to take 16 footers, which I liked it better with most Spates. And it was, it was just Clank City. And it's like, this is not a way to win basketball games. And I wrote it accordingly, and he didn't care.
I'm more interested in him calling you out, but he let it go, huh?
I don't know if he let it go, but like, we talked about it, and like, it's not like hard feeling. He's just like, nah. I think a lot of times, and this is the problem with social media, right? Like, again, it's not to go full old man grumpy or whatever, but like, okay, I write something in the paper, or I tweet something. Like, I can get a text immediately. I can get DM. I can get whatever. I'm also like in the locker room. So like, if I say something that's like way out of bounds, I got 15 people yelling at me about it. Right. Like, it's happened. Like, I got to stand there and take it. And I can also explain myself. And like, even though I can write as much as I want, or, I can do a whole thread of tweets, like, that accountability doesn't exist if you're only interacting with the written word. because stuff can
Sure.
get lost. Like I'm not going to explain my thought perfectly every single time. Sometimes I, miss the point.
Or it gets misinterpreted. I mean,
Entirely.
I think of the whole KD Strauss interaction.
Yeah.
And like Ethan's a mutual friend, and
Yeah.
but like my favorite part of that whole thing is KD found out about it through a aggregated tweet that he didn't even read the article. He just like got mad. He's like, it's like, like NBA Central or something. It's like Ethan Strauss says KD's gone. He's like, what the hell? It's like, so it's kind of funny.
That was the killer with KD. You would always find out that he had a problem with something that you wrote or said way later. And he would always have found out whatever you wrote or said through somebody else. And it's like, dude, like I can't try to recreate the game of telephone from a month ago. Like I just can't do it. It's totally, and then you'd have to, work it, and you never come to a consensus on them. Like you never get to a place where like Klay would just be like, well, fuck you. You just walk away. It's like, okay, that's cool. Like that's fair game. Like, with KD, there was always like, he was always trying to get to the bottom of it. He still does. It's fucking ridiculous. But hey,
Inspector, just a ninja here. All right, we're gonna get to. We got a couple callers are gonna come on. Dieter, appreciate you sitting with us. Before we get Francisco on here, World Cup officially started today. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's starting tomorrow. I have my alarm set 4:55. I will be.
You're doing it. You're not gonna record it. You're going live.
Because it's Iran.
That's fair.
And because of everything that's going on in Iran, I feel like, and they're probably not going to play more than 3 games. Just like,
I don't know. They got a good striker. They got that guy who plays for Porto. He's really good.
Yeah, he is absolutely they got a chance to get out of the group, but like playing the odds, they won't. But anyway, I want to see it, so I'll be up early, and then I will probably complain to everyone that I woke up early. But Francisco, what's up, my man?
Anyway, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just 30 minutes before I get my wake up call anyway.
That's right.
So, Francisco, what's up, man?
What's up, baby?
Hi, Sam. Hi, Dieter. Well, great game to stay up. Like you and Annie asked me a lot. What time is it here in Brazil? Okay. Today was an early game, so it was supposed to be earlier, but last night I had a cross-Atlantic flight, so I'm in Portugal. So I'm 3 hours later, and it's 3:20 again in the morning.
So you're just like, I got to get to whatever time zone gets me the light years post game show.
The light years call at 3 a.m. No, but that's why I said that. That's why I stayed up. I tried to catch a game, and after that first quarter from Klay, you had to keep up. It was a great game. He played great. Of course, he's not going to score 40 every game. Okay, he's not going to have a shooting night like this. But you can see he's getting back. As long as he gets his legs back, I think he'll be okay for the rest of the season. And Curry is playing lights out. He's playing like a point guard at the beginning of the games. Like, of course, he's a point guard, but playing distributing the ball. But in the end, he takes over whenever he has to. He takes over. I think he could have took the ball to the rim a lot more in the beginning of his stint in the fourth. He could have drove the ball a little bit more. But the thing about Poole, he's hesitating, and today he did he had 2 good possessions, but like you said, as soon as he misses, if he scores, he goes on an avalanche. But he had 2 good pull-up mid-range shots that he can get to because he drives really hard when he's okay, and he can shoot from the outside. If he drives and stops, he has a lot of separation. He missed the 2 jumpers. No, it happens. They're not going to score every time, but if he can get get out of his head and score those mid-range like Steph does sometimes. Steph is missing from the outside. He goes to the mid-range, he stops, he scores, and then the game flows from there. But Poole just needs to get out of his head, and they're starting to be okay. The starting 5, they're great. They can play with any team, okay, but they cannot give up 15-point leads to the bench. Okay.
So you're in Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, Francisco. I need a World Cup take before we get out of here, though.
What? Well, and World Cup take, man. I'm from Portugal. I'm in Portugal. Yeah,
What's
I'm
the
a
Hey,
little
Chris,
disappointed.
the vibes are not good with Portugal right
No,
now.
Yeah,
no, no, no.
exactly.
I'm a little bit disappointed because last year was not a good year for Ronaldo. The interview here in Portugal. I live in Brazil, but I listened to a lot of it. The interview
Well,
that he had
it went global.
with
That much I
Piers
know.
Morgan. Damn,
Piers Morgan.
having an interview with Piers Morgan is bottom of the barrel. Okay, so I don't know. No, it is.
There's been a
Uh,
bunch of intrigue in the camp too, like the Man
yeah,
United
no,
guys.
him and with Bruno Fernandes, and I don't know. And they're it's too bad because they miss the striker. They've always missed the striker. Okay, I'm from a generation that when Rui Costa and Luis Figo played,
Mhm.
okay, they are always missing a good striker. Now they have Ronaldo. Of course, they won the Euro Cup. Well, I cannot
Yep.
complain about that. Okay,
Yeah, I was gonna be
we,
like,
we lost
at
it.
least they
We
did
lost it
something.
at home. Okay, we lost it at home against Greece in the final.
I
So
remember that.
winning it away in France with not the B squad without Ronaldo on the field was great.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like a revenge, but on the French, not against Greece. It would have been better against Greece. But let me tell you one thing, Sam. It's a good thing, not a good thing for you, but because of Iran. I play golf. Okay, I was with a British guy, and I don't know if he's just being negative, but he was saying, no, I don't know if we can get out of the group, Iran and USA, and
It's both.
Yeah.
The British, I do, Francisco. I appreciate you. No fan base of any. They're like the Mets of global soccer. Or
Dude,
like
it's so much worse. The
pure hedge.
They're so looking forward to being 0-0 at halftime tomorrow, so that they could just like blame it all on Gareth Southgate. They just love it so much. They love complaining.
But then when they win, just the gloating. Like, what do you mean?
Always knew.
Of course, I never doubted. I never doubted. I knew all along. It's
exactly
like,
right.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of American sports teams that like the Mets kind of have that energy.
There is that Mets energy. I mean,
Niners a little bit these days.
It's so tough with the Niners these days.
Niners
Chicago
is generational
has that energy. Like Chicago, like the entire city, just about anything.
Cubs,
just like
Bulls,
Bears, just fucking sucks. And then the second it goes well,
I knew they were gonna suck. And they win. It's like, oh yeah, the Bears.
This is fantastic. This is this is what we deserve. This it's so fucking bad. Yeah, New York and Chicago. Basically, it's places with shitty weather. Like that's the energy. So, man, I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited. I think Netherlands still has it, and then the USA Wales game is going to be heavy. That's a big one because like that's pretty evenly matched. Like I can get behind Wales or the U.S. getting out of the group. I think the U.S. wins the group if I'm being honest because I think Iran takes a draw tomorrow off of England.
You think so?
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a very even group. Let's get to this. We got a super chat from Awesome Joe going to Wiseman. We didn't talk about this,
dude. This is next
to Wiseman's G League game. Tells me they're prepared to waste this Steph season. This is unsuitable. Are you asking for an injury without a trade? Let me say two things and then kick it to you. One, Steph played 37 minutes tonight, and it is fair to ask. It's one thing if you're shorthanded for a couple weeks. It's another, like, are they going to do something about this, or like there's a limit there, but I don't actually put too much into Lake up there other than the optics of it are fucking hilarious.
I mean, what? I get that he was the number 2 overall pick, and I get that he's a legitimately nice kid who's had some shit not go his way. But why do we treat James Wiseman this way? Like, why is top to bottom the Warriors organization like so behind James Wiseman? There's like a level of pity that seems to be taken upon the kid, but it's not pity. Like I can't figure out what the emotion is.
So this is what weirds me out because, like, you know a bunch, and like I've heard like he's obviously a little sensitive. they think the way I read it, they think they can bring it out of him with like positivity. And I'm just sitting here going, all right, what's going to happen when they play a real game and Jokic throws an elbow in his chest? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could only do the training wheel thing. And
they got fooled by Jordan Poole so goddamn hard. But like the difference between Poole and Wiseman, like we can go down the list, but there's two big ones. One, Jordan Poole's a shooter. This is a shooter's league. Like that dude could shoot the rock. And there's never been a question that he could shoot the rock. The only question is, could he actually get the rock into the basket? He was so goddamn awful. But like the stroke was always there and the confidence was there and the ability to put the ball on the floor and like get off a shot was there. He was just a bad basketball player who like just totally whacked out of his mind.
Loves to dance a little too much.
The game was too fast for him by about 1,000 miles per hour. And once it slowed down a little bit and he got himself a little bit of confidence and the vibes started to go up, he was able to build off of that. He still hasn't figured out the baseline, but like we've seen something pretty close to the peak and it's spectacular. So like, but he was the 28th pick. Like you could have failed with him and it wouldn't have been a problem. Jacob Evans just went away. No one ever had to think about Jacob Evans again.
Sure.
Like you don't have to do this. They did this. The only player that I can think about, and obviously there haven't been too many like dramatic misses, but the only player who I can compare to what they're doing with Wiseman right now, and you'll love this, is Alan Smailagic. There's this just like we're going to make this work no matter what, and it's like, dude, it's not going to work. I'm happy to eat crow on this. Like it's not going to work, not here, and probably not ever.
Way too many barriers. And like, I get what's tantalizing about a 7-footer who moves like that with that kind of touch, but it's awesome. It's
aesthetically very pleasing when it works well. He's not, he doesn't have the feel. He doesn't have it. And like Damian Jones, baby, like it's not dissimilar.
Do you think he's on the Warriors past the trade deadline?
Do I think he is? Yes. Do I think he should be? No.
Okay. I kind of think I'm going to go with I think it's too early to tell. There's the other aspect of they don't want to sell low, and it's like the sunk it's like the sunk cost thing. Oh, they could sell.
It's like it. It is the sunk cost fallacy.
No, they totally can sell him. The point is they'll get nothing back. Like you don't think OKC would take him as a like.
Yeah, just it's a lot of money.
Like, there's 8 rebuilding teams out there who are like, well, worst case, he helps us get the top pick. Best case, we just swindled a lottery pick out of the Warriors. Like, there's no cost to OKC. But the Warriors don't want it. The Warriors obviously want to recoup that. They want to recruit value out of him, whether it's him on the court or like they trade him for something, you know, like I feel like that's the other part of it. Whereas like Smiley and Damian Jones, like at least they were picked in ranges that it doesn't matter. All right,
they could go away.
We got 2 more people to get to, and then we're gonna call it. MP from the East Bay.
It's dark in the East Bay today.
My man just turned off his camera.
Let's see if he's got audio.
Oh, no. Let's try it. Let's get to McWalters, who I know has what he needs there. What's up, my man?
Yeah. I got the audio. No problem. Dude,
this man was prepared.
Yeah, of course. Dude, Warrior Gooners here in the Discord. Dude, we're the England football fans when it comes to Wiseman. We'd rather see the team just lose and get smoked so we can be like, Joe, you're an idiot. Joe, look, you're an idiot. Because we
get
just
out in front
smoked.
Of Chase Center chanting Lake About.
Exactly. It's going to get to that point. That or else he's going to be Marvin Bagley Jr., right? Where like he's so distressed that you'd either have to attach a pick to him or outright wave him to get off.
Friend of the show, Ben Golliver on his pod called him Marvin Bagley the Fourth, and I spent way too long laughing at a very dumb pun.
God,
I love that.
I don't even think he has half the heart of Marvin Bagley. That's the real problem.
Yeah, Marvin Bagley wanted it. He just couldn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Did he want it? I feel like Bagley was this. I actually think Bagley's a great example because high school star and then just starts getting annoyed that like the coaches won't let him just cook Like they want him to play defense, and they want him to basically. They're both big men who think that they should be KD. Like,
but
at
at
the end
least
of
he
the
was
day.
serviceable at Duke. Wiseman couldn't even have a. I mean, granted, he also illegally got to Memphis, but like he still was awful in those 3 games, right? And we want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, I think he's shown everything that we can see from him, which is that he isn't going to amount to too much. And unless you want to attach a whole boatload of picks with him, you're not going to get something good in return for him. You're pretty much going to have to sink that away. And that's awful. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is that we got 74 points between Steph and Klay, which is like the 4th or 5th most combined for them, like all time, which is a crazy number. You would think there'd be way more like high scoring games, but usually it's like Steph or Klay going off, not Steph and Klay going off, which is freaking phenomenal. And we barely won this game. What the fuck? Anyways, like those are the things that are concerning, right? Like we get another Herculean performance and one from Klay, and the game was still a nail biter. Like, oh my!
And Wiggins played well too.
Minus the dunk, but yes, I mean he did
minus
play a
the
good
dunk, but like
that was a.
Wiggins was line driving him in.
Yes,
something special.
No, it's like I don't know how many internal solutions there are to fixing this bench, and that's kind of the thing because it's like we know that the core guys can get it done. There's a couple players on the bench that I think can play roles, but like they probably need to add, and at least they got off the road Schneid 5-2 in the post Big Jim era.
Hey, come strong against New Orleans, keep it close. Maybe we'll sneak that.
Yeah.
I don't like the energy of saying maybe we'll sneak one out in New Orleans. Just like I know that it's the accurate assessment of the scenario, but like, oh boy.
Yeah, how bad has it gotten that we're hoping to sneak something out in New Orleans? Jeez.
I don't know, maybe Herb Jones won't give us the business.
It's all right.
Tomorrow.
Steph will have a 2-block game. We'll be good. He's defensive player of the year. It's just, it's all
that's worth calling out tonight. This is how good Steph is. 33, 15, 7, 3 steals, 2 blocks.
Spectacular.
Doesn't even make a discussion point. It's like, that's what he does.
Whatever. He missed a free throw. It was an off night.
That's true. All right. Well, Mick Walters, appreciate you. Dieter, I really appreciate you coming on.
Always, buddy.
Yeah. You hang in there. All right. Appreciate everyone who listened.